Today on Stamp TV, I'd like to show you 3 brand new 6x6 pattern paper packs released today at Gina Designs. These beautiful collections will take you from spring into early summer and help you create card projects for everyone on your list. We also released 3 coordinating cardstock collections, and I'd like to show them to you now. The first collection is the Sundance Collection, and this collection is full of beautiful, vibrant patterns that will remind you of sunrise and sunset and landscapes, all kinds of beautiful sunny features. And let me show you the cardstock that coordinates with this collection. In the cardstock collection, you'll have Just Peachy, Pumpkin Spice, Sweet Corn, and Sweet Mango. And you can see how beautifully that all coordinates. The second collection I'd like to show you is Poolside. And I love this one for all kinds of cards for summer, but I also really like it for masculine cards because it has some of those patterns that are just nice and classic, like the plaid and the checks and the stripes. And let me show you the cardstock that coordinates with this collection. First, we have Little Boy Blue, and then Soft Sand, Tanned Leather, and In the Navy. And look how nicely that all goes together. The last collection I want to show you is the new Parisian Garden, and you're going to love the way that all of these different patterns look like beautiful watercolor paintings, beautiful textures and bright, vibrant colors, just perfect for springtime cards. And let me show you the cardstocks that coordinate. First, we have the lovely Lavender, Moonlit Fog, Little Boy Blue, and Wild Lilac. And you'll be able to see, even this moonlit fog you're going to see coming into the center of some of these flowers. It's just all so beautiful together. Now, one of my favorite techniques to do with pattern paper is paper piecing. And if you've never done this technique before, let me show you how easy it is to do. First, you're going to need some white cardstock. And I'm going to use some of the Gina Designs Pure Luxury Heavy Base Weight cardstock. You can also use the layering weight for this. And then I'm going to use one of my favorite stamps for paper piecing. This one is the little dress stamp from Rupa Shevda's Retro Boutique stamp set by Gina Designs. Then I have some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and because you're not coloring, you can use any black ink in your collection. You just want to make sure that it's a fast-drying ink, especially when you're stamping on pattern papers. So to start, I'm going to stamp this on the white cardstock and get a nice crisp image. And then I'm going to stamp this on one of the pieces of pattern paper from the Parisian Garden collection. Isn't that so pretty? I'm going to ink up the dress once again and stamp the same exact image right here on the paper. And what's fun is every time you do this, your paper piecing is going to look a little bit different depending on where you stamp on the pattern paper. Okay, so there is my image again. So now I have the two. Now you want to get a nice sharp pair of scissors, and I'm using my Cutter Bee scissors. I like those for cutting pattern paper, also for cutting ribbon. Now, one of the things that you may think is difficult about paper piecing is cutting out all the detail. And you can see at the bottom of this dress, there's lots of lace, and then there's this little crisscross in the back. Don't be intimidated by that. With paper piecing, what you want to do is cut out the bold parts of the image, and you can leave the other parts to either be colored or leave them white. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut that little frilly bottom right off of the skirt part of this dress. So this way I don't have to deal with any of that intricate cutting. I'm just cutting the bolder part of the dress off. Okay. Now, I'm also going to do the same thing at the top of the skirt here. I'm not going to cut around that lace, but instead I'm going to cut right on top of it. So just like that. You can see. And down this side. If you like paper piecing, a really good thing to do when you don't have any mojo, just stamp off a bunch of these images on all different pattern scraps and cut them out while you're sitting on the couch watching TV, and then you'll have some beautiful paper pieced images to work with when you do get that creative mojo back. Now you see I'm just laying that right on top. You see how the lace sticks out from underneath? That is so pretty and so delicate, and you don't have to worry about cutting all of that. And if you were wearing a dress like this, probably the lace hanging out from underneath would be white, so that really makes sense. However, I could take a Copic marker or a Bic marker, and I could color those in a light lavender if I wanted. So you can do a lot of different things without having to cut a lot of detail. Now for the top, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut. Let me just get most of this cut away so I'm not dealing with the big piece. And I'm just going to cut the straps out. I'm not going to worry about those back straps. You won't be able to really see any detail in the back straps anyway, so why bother going through all of that and cutting those out when the back straps can just be white. Okay, now I'm going to cut this little part off right here too, because that's going to be like a little white sash going across the center of the dress. And now I'm just going to cut right around that scoop neck, cutting those back straps right off. Now, a lot of people ask me how I like to glue my pieces on, especially when I'm dealing with very delicate pieces like this. Well, I really don't like to use tape because tape can be kind of messy when you're trying to just do a very delicate area. The tape kind of gets all stuck to the front. So what I like to use is a Quickie Glue Pen. This is a great little tool to have in your arsenal. It's very inexpensive, and it's just a pen that's filled with a nice glue. I like to start it a little bit on part of my paper or a scratch piece of paper. And then what I'm going to do here is, just like I was coloring this dress in, I'm just going to color it in with glue. And I'm not going to worry too much about covering every little bit of it. I'm just going to make sure that the perimeter is covered, and then I can just scribble the glue into the center like that. Okay. Now I'm going to gently lay this piece of pattern paper on top, and if you don't lay it on just perfectly, because it's a wet glue, you still have a chance to pick it up a couple times and reposition it until it's exactly the way you want it. And there we go. Now I have my skirt all glued down. Now for the top, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just color around the perimeter of the top and then just scribble a little there. And then for these straps, I'm going to take the pen and just do a little line down each strap. And that makes it very easy to control the glue. And then place that onto the white piece. And you can see there that that has a nice little white area in between that looks like maybe a ribbon that would go around the center of the dress. Now let me show you my finished card project. I'm just loving these new pattern papers. Here is the finished card, and I've also used part of that pattern paper to do the back piece. Isn't that just beautiful? This is a very, very simple card to make, simple layout. You've seen me do this layout 100 times before. It's my go-to sketch when I need a fast card. And let the pattern papers and the paper piecing work for you and be all of that beautiful detail, so you don't need tons of layers and tons of embellishments. Isn't that pretty? You're just my style. Paper piecing is a great alternative to coloring, and with the beautiful pattern papers by Gina Designs, you can create mini masterpieces for everyone on your card making list.